Hey guys, Coach Seán here, and welcome to another episode of the Coach Seán Fitness podcast. And I haven't done one of these episodes in the last 2 weeks or so. 2 weeks ago was the last time I did an episode of the podcast. It's probably a good thing I didn't do one last week because you guys would have been fed up with me, because I would have been just 30, 40, 50 an hour, 50 minutes to an hour on Michael Jordan's The Last Dance, because that has been like, I don't want to say the highlight of COVID-19 because that sounds like COVID-19's been this great event, which obviously hasn't been, and the absolute highlight was The Last Dance, but it was, I'm trying to think of the right word for this to describe it, but a glimmer of hope. No, that's not right. But anyway, it was one of the good things of this last couple of months has been just the process of, working all day on a Monday, doing my live class through Zoom and boot camp on the Monday night, and then once 8 o'clock hit and it was finished, I got my good bottle of whiskey down by my side, the fire was lit, the TV was on, it was 2 hours straight of easily the best sports documentary I've ever seen. I'm not going to go into it any more than that, but if you have not watched it, you have to check it out. It's 10 episodes. It goes through the career of Michael Jordan as well as the Chicago Bulls, one of the best sports dynasties in any sport. You got to check it out. That's all I'm going to say in that. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Moving on. I'm dependent on running. Yep, that's my that's what I'm going with today. I am dependent on running. That I have to admit, I didn't realize it until a couple of weeks ago. I went for a run and I messed up my calf again. So I'm gonna have to get that checked out by physios and stuff. There's definitely something going on there. I've had a lot of calf issues over the years. Every time I train for a marathon, there ends up being a problem with one of my calves, and it's both of them at this stage. So it's definitely something with the running mechanics. I think my glutes aren't firing too much to run, so I'm starting using mini bands a lot more to work on them, and hopefully that works. But there's probably some underlying issues there. I'm not a physio, so I got to get checked out when all this whole COVID-19 thing calms down, everything starts getting back to normal. One of the first things I'm doing is ringing up a physio, booking in and saying, hey, sort these calves out, because I'm pretty much sick of it at this stage. But getting back to my point of being dependent on running, I messed up. It was only an easy run, messed up the calf. I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be a nice light run, and I tried to go for a long run that weekend, 2-3k in. I felt it getting worse. Like, you know what, I'm gonna take a week off running here, because if I take any more than a week off, if I try and push through this, I know I'm gonna wreck my calves. And I did that before the year before we do the night run. Myself and Eric, who is another co-host of the Any Given Run Day podcast, we were doing the night run in Dublin at the end of April 2019, and my goal was just to do my fast 10k. I hadn't got a particular time, but it was definitely sub 50 I wanted to do, and I was doing my own training for a marathon at that time, which I ended up not doing because 2-3k into this, we were running at a 4:40 pace, I think it was. And I was like, I was feeling good, but then the calf started twinging a bit. I was like, Eric, I'm going to need to pull back a bit because this calf's at me. He's like, nah, come on, let's keep going. Let's keep pushing through. And my own fault, kept pushing through. I should have been more adamant, being like, no, this is going to end badly. So we kept pushing through at that pace, and 4:40 pace was pretty fast for me. Kept it going. By the time the 6 to 7 kilometer came, I remember we're coming right back around towards Tollbridge, the East Tollbridge across the road from the Tree Arena, and the calf just went bang. I tried to cut in front of someone and then bang, gone, and I had to pull in. I was like, Eric, just keep going, I'm done for. Started shaking it out, stretching, and all these hundreds of people kept running by, and ego kicked in. I was like, no, I can't just walk off and back to the start. And one of our friends, Elaine, was doing as well. I knew she was behind. I was like, I can't let her run and pass me out. She got so ticked when I told her that one of the reasons I stupidly decided to limp run the last 2-3 kilometers was because I couldn't let her get one up over me and finish the race ahead. I actually did my last K as was my best K, because I kept limp running. Whatever way I was running, bouncing off the other leg. I remember it was something ridiculous, like a 4:30 pace. Like, I should not have been done. And finished with 48 minutes, but my calf was totally ruined. I did nothing for the next 5-6 weeks because of that. Completely strange, stupid thing to do. So instead of losing a week or two and just resting and quitting the race, I decided to keep on going. Lost 5-6 weeks. So when I started to strain again, I was like, you know what, I'm backing out. And I know what you're thinking, Sean, what the hell does that have to do with being dependent on running? Well, I got back into running this past week. I ran a 5k and I was around a minute and a half slower than I had been in the previous 2 weeks, but I was okay with it. I was back in, there was no pain in the calves. And I find that 5k is very tough. The way I'm doing them is the last 2 to 3k, the last 2k is all uphill. So I'm like, let's keep pushing, because I was reading somewhere that a race doesn't really start until you're like 75% into it. It's that last 20-25% where you have to go all out. That's when the race really starts. And even when it comes to a marathon, they say the marathon doesn't really start until like kilometer 35 out of 42, and it's that last 7k, it's what do you have left in the tank to keep pushing. That's really going to decide whether you get your time you want or finish the race or whatever it is. And it's the same with a 5k. It's the last 2k that really counts. So the way my 5k runs are going is in that last 2k, it's a hell of an uphill. So if I can push through that uphill, and then for the last 500 meters where it starts to flatten out, if I can get that extra burst of energy to keep going from there, if I keep doing that each and every week, when it comes to setting my own 5k PB on a flat, I should have a lot more energy in the last 2k, because the body is ready for this big uphill. When there's a flat, it's almost going to feel like a downhill for me, hopefully. I still haven't got to the point where I think running's dependent yet. It's a hell of a long intro. But, so, when I'm doing that 5k, it's mentally tough. It's like, let's get through this hill. I'm not thinking about anything else. It's like, let's get through this hill, get to the top, keep pushing. When I'm doing the interval runs, it's the exact same thing, the 400 meters by 8. So it's like, let's keep pushing this minute and a half. So I'm going for a minute 30 seconds doing the interval runs, because that's going to work out roughly a 3:45 kilometer. And my long-term goal is to do a sub 25k. I'm a long way away from that. I'm not saying I'm near that, but that's my goal. And I'm able to do, well, this past Wednesday, I did 7 out of 8 intervals with a 2-minute rest, was at that 1:30 mark. So I'm getting closer to that. So I want to get used to running at a 3:45 pace. So hopefully I'll be talking in the podcast a couple of weeks' time how I got to a sub 20. But that's a good bit away. My point is, when I'm doing those interval runs, it's all go. When I get to the Saturday run is a long run, and I switch on my long podcast. It's, just 3 hours of my favorite kind of like. I always consider that the long run soundtrack to be the same as a driving soundtrack, where great songs you like to listen to when you're driving. That's the kind of songs that are being played. So when they're on, I try and keep a nice comfortable pace, not thinking too much about it, and my mind just zones out. I start thinking about different things. Like this past Saturday, it was like, how do I do the newsletter? And different ideas came through from the newsletter, different things I've picked up during the week, and it just helps me focus a lot more. And I realized during it was like, I haven't had this clarity in the last 2-3 weeks, because I haven't been doing my long runs. And that's when I realized I'm dependent on running, because all my routines just went, and I didn't notice it until I was doing my long runs. I was like, I'm sleeping in later, I'm not sleeping well at night, I'm missing some of my early morning walks that I was doing, my consistency is gone, and it all started to go downhill after I stopped running. Now I was still doing other resistance training, and that's always going to be my favorite type of training. I was doing different things like that, but the running itself, because I wasn't doing it, everything just kind of, it slowly got a little bit worse. Not enough to notice it until I had that clarity doing the long runs, and they're by far my favorite runs of the week. While I'm on the long run, I just I don't want to say I zone out, because I'm still thinking about the run, but my mind just wanders to different things, different tasks, and I find when I get back, it's like, oh, okay, I want to do this and this. And that's why, like, on a Sunday, I have like a litany of lists and litany of things to do, because my runs on a Saturday are like, oh, I want to do something now. I just get more motivated when the run's finished, because I've got all these different ideas going through my head to do it. So that's why I'm dependent on running. And the moral of the story is, if you're doing running, or if you're not doing running, try and get some runs in. Try and get some runs where it's just easy runs or long runs where you get to zone out and you just get to think. And that's going to help you out and give you clarity and help you get more focus on other things. I've tried the motivation thing. I'm going to continue, not the motivation, I've tried the meditation thing. I'm going to continue trying the meditation thing. We're going to be talking a little bit of breathing down in a second after this hell of a long intro. And hopefully I can get a rhythm and routine in that, but it's been 32 years. Not that I've been trying to meditate for 32 years, but in the last 4, 5, 6 years, I'm like, I really need to start doing this. I still haven't got into a rhythm routine. I put it up high enough on my priority list to do it, and it's something that I need to do. That's why I'm saying it out loud in the podcast, to hold myself accountable to do it. So we'll see how the meditation stuff goes, but for now, my meditation, my calmness, my clarity comes from long runs. Go figure, because a couple of years ago I would not have said that. I would have said running was just absolute torture and I don't get the point in it, but I'm a changed man. And with that said, we're going to go straight into today's topic, which is on breathing. Now that wasn't a hard video to get through now, was it? I hope you guys got some value out of the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the Coach Seán channel, which is somewhere here. Hit that button, subscribe to the Coach Seán channel, leave a thumbs up. There should be a couple of other videos around here for you guys to check out. And that's all from me, from Coach Seán. Take care.